Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic Lesson and Classics. This is episode number 1606 and the 1500 Doubleshot. Yeah, that's something unusual, basically, where I pass a certain number, and usually it's like 100. Doubleshot is usually like 100 less than the actual episode. And it's not surprising if you take 6 episodes just after I hit that big number. And hit the number. But at least the 1500 Doubleshot at least has physical trades. Unlike episode 1600, which was 2 digital trades. Yeah. But we do have physical ones. Alright, we have 1 Marvel, 1 DC. First up it is the Immortal Hulk. Great power! Yep, that's the name of this one-shot. Now, is this technically another volume for the trade series for Immortal Hulk? No. It's a spin-off trade that collects basically a few one-shots for Immortal Hulk. We have Immortal Hulk, Great Power, The Thrashing Place, and Flatline, and material from Time of Monsters. Now, does Al Ewing, the writer of Immortal Hulk, actually write in these one-shots? The answer is no, he doesn't. These are spin-off one-shots associated with the Hulk. Now, as far as I can tell, prior to this run coming out, I don't think Hulk has ever had any one-shots published in years. I think the last time I could think of he had one that I can think of off the top of my head was a Hulk annual. But an actual one-shot for Hulk? Oh, I think it had been a long time. Like, at the top of my head, I mean, Totally Awesome Hulk didn't have any. No. Okay, what about the run that came before, the Hulk Volume 3? They had an annual, but one shot? Not really, no. The annuals are usually attached to the actual main series. And a lot of the time, they're usually written by the series regular writer. But the actual spin-off one-shot, that is basically not an annual. Not in years, like prior to these ones coming out. Yeah, it had been a long time. I think the last time I could think of, prior to these one-shots coming out, that Hulk even had any one-shots, off the top of my head, was probably for tie-ins for World War Hulks. I think. But that's it. Now, as for the first one, Great Power. Yeah, this was written by Tom Taylor. Yeah, the whole point of this one is somehow Spider-Man gets gamma radiation. Yes, gamma radiation. And turns into the Hulk. And yes, it is, according to the actual one, this is actually the only one they actually note exactly when it takes place. According to this is before Immortal Hulk number 14 and Fantastic Four, I believe it's like volume 6, I think it is. Yeah, 6, number 12. So, that's when this first one-shot takes place. Now, you might be asking, Nick, why was this one-shot collected in Immortal Hulk Volume 3? Don't have an answer for that, because that would be the perfect place to put it, but maybe it's one of those Immortal Hulk by Al Ewing trades. They might put it in there. But the regular trade series? Not really, no. That is mostly basically the reason for that. Yeah, that's the weird thing about it, is that they don't really have a reason for it. Not necessarily, no. Now, as far as I can tell for Tom Taylor, this is the first time it's for anything associated with the Hulk. Because when you think of basically Tom Taylor stuff for Marvel, what do you think of? On Wolverine, X-Men Red. There's also one Hulk for Wolverine miniseries. I believe was also Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. But that's it. That's all I can think off the top of my head when it comes to Tom Taylor's time at Marvel. Of course, a lot of people think of his other work. Oh yeah, there's also Superior Iron Man. But aside from that, people think of books also like Injustice. Let's see. There's also his current run for Nightwing, per se. That's usually books people think of Tom Taylor, but not the Hulk. No. As far as I can tell, I mean, yeah, nothing unusual for him to write Spider-Man. I'm surprised this one shot was not collected in the Friend with Spider-Man trade. But as far as I can tell, this is the first time he's ever written the Hulk that I can think of. Oh yeah, here's the really interesting thing about this one shot. It's near the very end. There's a shocking factoid about the Hulk. You want to know what it is? He knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man. despite the fact he wiped everybody's memories of it. Well, there are some people who know. I mean, aside from the Hulk, who actually knows Peter Parker Spider-Man? Mary Jane Watson, Carly Cooper, I mean, Anna Martori, the Fantastic Four, obviously. Yes, they know. Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Clint Barton, Mockingbird, Wolverine. This, of course, is Logan. He does know because he basically revealed it when he was a member of New Avengers, and I believe it was issue 50. Bucky Barnes knows. I know that the original Captain America, Steve Rogers, knows. Let's see. Top of my head, you might think, does Iron Man know? Here's a shocker. No. As far as I can tell, I don't think Iron Man knows that Spider-Man is in fact Peter Parker. I believe Flash Thompson knows. I know Eddie Brock knows. Dr. Octopus did know, but he doesn't currently know per se because he lost his memories. Unknown Mysterio still knows because he did find out in the original Spider-Man miniseries, but it's unknown for him currently if he knows. I'm trying to think here. I know there's about 30 people who know who's Peter Parker Spider-Man. Let's see. Norman Osborn knows. So is J. Jonah Jameson. Let's see. I'm trying to think here. Was anybody else knows? May Parker does not currently know. No, she did know prior to One More Day, but because of the mind wipe, she does not know anymore. She has not known in years that her nephew is in fact Spider-Man. Silk knows. Oh yeah, Jessica Drew does know. Let's see. Carol Danvers. Yes, she does know. I'm trying to think here. Was anybody else? Oh yeah, Miss Marvel. Yes, she does know. She actually found out in the Marvel Team Up Brief Revival ongoing series that basically was her team with two superheroes. First with Spider-Man, and then with Carol Danvers. So yeah, Miss Marvel does know too. I'm trying to think here. Was anybody else who does know? You might ask, does Daredevil know anymore? No, he doesn't. I don't think he's ever revealed to him that he was Spider-Man. Not that I can think of, no. It would be good for their friendship, but otherwise, no, he doesn't currently know. And I'm just thinking people off the top of my head, basically, who does know Peter Parker or Spider-Man. I think that's it. I don't think anybody else knows. So I'd say about 14 people know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Unless there's somebody I forgot. Please feel free to list in the comments below in case anybody I missed. So, apparently, Loki kind of transferred the gamma radiation from Bruce Banner to Spider-Man. When Loki found it, I was like, oh, sorry about that. Won't happen again. It is definitely a good one-shot. I think Tom Taylor does a good job writing the Hulk and, of course, Spider-Man. It's a good one-shot. Thrashing Place. This actually is done by Jeff Lemire. And you might ask, has Jeff Lemire ever written Hulk before? No. Never has. Not that I can think of. He's never written any Hulk that I can think of. I mean, unless somehow he has, please feel free in the comments below, like prior to this one-shot coming out, he's written the Hulk before. Yes. This one does not list off exactly when this takes place. Unlike the other one, this one is just basically... This one, the artwork is gorgeous. This is done by Mike Del Mundo, which... I'm surprised he never actually drew the main Mortal Hulk series. It was actually done by Joe Bennett for all 50 issues. Jorge Malaya does the artwork for with great power, which, given the fact it's a Spider one shot, you kind of think, yeah. But Mike Del Mundo, I love this guy's artwork. It is gorgeous. I love his artwork. He's a personal favorite artist. Never met him in person. Nope. But I do think him drawing the Hulk is actually a good idea to do because he's usually known for drawing very weird artwork. And drawing the Hulk actually makes sense for him to do. So, kudos. High praise for that. It's just a random one-shot, but it's definitely a good It's mostly good for the artwork. Flatline. This one is done by Delkin Salvi, who is the writer, artist, colorist, and he did the cover too. I'm like, wow. Yeah, this guy's artwork is kind of weird. Now, this one also does not list off exactly when the heck this takes place. Just a random one-shot. It just feels like this is a story that could have been told in the main Immortal Hulk series. That's mainly just this one, too. The previous one, kind of the same thing, too. But it's mostly like, it could have been just a story for that, but it's just told by somebody else. Yeah. The other one, just another Hulk story. It's just a brief one. Time of Monsters. Yeah, this is basically just a few pages. This is from called Laughing Fire by David Vaughn, artwork by Kevin Nolan. This guy is the artist, colorist, and the letterer. Yeah, he did the lettering for this too, which, yeah, you actually don't see that very much. Yeah, based on the cover, like, oh, must deal with the Green Door stuff and the Marvel Hulk stuff. Yeah, it's mostly the Hulk dealing with the Scarecrow in the movie theater. That's mostly what this one-shot is. Yep. But yeah, these one-shots are actually pretty good. Give this book, bless you! Give this book roughly I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. It's actually pretty good. Yep. Now, as far as I can tell, I don't think the final trade for Immortal Hulk has been released yet. No, not that I could think of. No, let's take a look, shall we? I'm going to take a quick look at that. Now, is this particular thing released? No, it has not been released yet. The final trade for Immortal Hulk actually comes out next month on December 8th. Yeah, that's when the final trade comes out, and that just contains the final 5 issues of the series. No, seriously, that's pretty much what it contains. The final 5 issues of the series. But yeah, this Immortal Hulk stuff was really good. Well, aside from the final trade for Immortal Hulk, I think like the only thing else we reviewed with Immortal Hulk is just Immortal Hulk number 0, which don't think it's collected in trade, and Immortal She-Hulk. Alright, next up is, we're going back to something we haven't gotten to in a while. We have Spawn, the Origin Collection, Volume 2. This one collects issues 7 through 9 and 11 to 14. You might be asking, where the heck is issue number 10? Yeah, that's actually a question. Yeah, unlike the very first volume for the trade series, which collected 6 trade issues per se. Now, I like the Origin Collection. I think it's actually a really good idea. Yes, for some reason, issue 10... Let's see. Yeah, for some reason it's not in this trade. It's by far of the original 122 issues is the only one not in trade. Yeah, it's mostly dealing with yeah, this is I believe it's a new printing, this one. Yeah, I guess this is fairly recent. Yeah, this is a new printing. Now, for some reason, I'm not really sure why, but issue 10 is on here. That mostly was the aftermath of what happened issue number 9. Now, Tom McFarlane is the writer and artist he's the artist for all the issues. For writing-wise, he does issue 1, and he does also issues 12 through 14. Now, mostly put in here, there's various different things happening here. Issue 9 is infamous. It's basically a very historic issue, issue 9, because it's done by Neil Gaiman. Now, issue 8 is focused on Bill Kincaid. If you know who Bill Kincaid is, the guy is a child molester. Though he also kills kids too. It's a good thing he wouldn't be evil, because this would be kind of disgusting if this guy's written like a good guy. Now, this guy was killed by Spawn in his debut appearance, and here he's basically some kind of like weird creature. He's with like some little girl. I'm like, what the heck is this? Yeah, and by the way, this issue here, this was done by Alan Moore. Yeah, issue is by Alan Moore. 7, which is from the year of 1993. Yeah, this mostly follows on from what happened in issue 6. Deal with overt kill. Deal with the aftermath of that. That's mostly what that is. Issue number, 9. This is an historic issue. And you're thinking, why is issue 9 a historic issue? Because we have a debut here. Of who? Angela! Yep, Angela. A character who Neil Gaiman later sued Todd McFarlane over this character. I think it was due to royalties, I think it was? Yes, I think it was. Mostly put for this issue, this kind of explained a little bit of her backstory. The fact she fought various spawns over the years. Well, hell spawns. And this is what she looks like in the book. That's how McFarlane draws her. Yes, now, I would not mind bringing this to have Neil Gaiman sign, but because he wrote this issue, I don't know if he would sign it or not. So I would probably bring one of the other books he worked on, like Sandman, whatever. I do have a Sandman. I do a Sandman Dream Hunters thing he did work on. Yes. Reading this also reminds me of the brief episode Angela did guest star in, because she goes with Office to basically go hunt the Hellspawn. Here, she actually gave him permission to hunt the Hellspawn. In the show, she is denied that request. Yep. Yeah, and there's also a joke in the later issue about the mask moving when he gets briefly moved by one of the homeless people. We have the alley Spawn is in. And you have Spawn versus Angela for the first time. Now, the very next issue deals with the aftermath of that, but that's not here for some reason. I don't know why, but it isn't. Excuse me. Issue 11. Okay, this issue is not written by Todd McFarlane once again. This issue is written by Frank Miller. Yes. Frank Miller wrote this thing. What's the whole point of this issue? Yeah, this is the gag issue involving Spawn's mask. I believe it was. Yeah, there's no really major character makers debut in this issue. Not really, no. Oh, there's only this character Byron. It's this guy here. Yeah, Spawn versus this guy for this issue here. Yes, and then finally with issue 12, we're finally back to Todd McFarlane taking over the writing and artwork. Yes, 2-page spread put on its side. Typical 90s. Yep. Yes. The 90s were notorious, for I've heard, for doing this. I wasn't reading at this point because I was a little kid when this came out. This came out in 1983. This issue was released in, let's see, July of 1983. If you're curious, though, how old was I when this book came out? I was 5. And the thing is, at the time this book came out, I had never heard of Spawn. Nope. 5 years old, and I barely remember this time period. Yes, up until around the late 90s, my memory from this time period is very fuzzy, at best. I remember vague things about 1983. Like, I do remember seeing a couple movies that year. I saw Richie Rich and The Pagemasters that year in theaters. But aside from that, and I remember I was in elementary school at this point. I believe I think I was going to Centennial at this point. Either Centennial or Woodland Elementary School, I think it was at this point. Yes. Now, I do remember seeing on TV because I love watching this. I still actually own it. I was watching Home Alone a lot because I love this movie. It was so freaking good. Still my favorite movies is Fairy. I still occasionally watch it, not as much as when I was younger. When I was younger, I watched it a lot because I love this movie. It is so freaking good. The first and second movie. I like the second movie a little better than the first one. But that's my vague memories of 1993. Because my memories get a little better by the late 90s. Yes. Yeah, I know. Me sharing my memories of the early 90s. Even I was like 5 years old, but I do vaguely remember stuff happening this year. Yep. Sam and Twitch still try to investigate Spawn. And at the end of issue 12, we actually have Chapel. Yes, Chapel. Here's the thing about this character. He is not a Todd McFarlane character. No, he isn't. He's creation of Rob Liefeld. No, I'm not kidding about that. Issue 13 is basically the first time that Spawn fought Chapel since it came back. And here's the thing. This is all Rob Liefeld's characters. Look, here's Shaft. The guy who was originally supposed to be, apparently, Roy Harper. No joke. This guy here, that's freaking Badrock. Oh my gosh. Yes, I know who these characters are because I've read Youngblood and I've watched Lynn Carr's reviews. That's how I know who these characters are. And look, here's 3 characters right here. Shaft, you might be thinking, who the heck is the guy in blue and white? Die Hard! He is an android. Yep, an android. Yeah, he's from the Youngblood series. Yeah, and there's common jokes about this guy. The fact that, like, in issue 1 of Youngblood, where apparently he basically hits somebody with his groin. I'm like, what the heck? It's basically how Rob Liefeld drew the damn issue. But because it was Image Comics, so they have to figure out a way to have these characters fight each other. So we have a guest star appearance by, of course, well, like I said, Youngblood. And then we cut to Spawn's wife. Well, his ex-wife, mind you, because he was so declared dead. I think her name was Wanda. Yes, Wanda. This is actually Terry. Yes, Terry. He's a long-time supporting character. This is some of his early appearances of Terry. Terry Fitzgerald. That's his name, Terry Fitzgerald. He is actually still around in the comics this very day. And they have a daughter together named Cyan, who she's still around, except she's not a little girl anymore. Oh no, she actually is a full-fledged adult now. I think she's like about pushing 20. I think she is. Yeah, this was actually revealed about a few years ago when Spawn hit 250. Yep, and we can have a flashback of how Chapel was ordered by Jason Wynn. Jason Wynn was in fact Al Simmons' employer, and he basically had Chapel kill Spawn because I think he apparently knew too much. So there was reason for that. And then we have now sometimes basically Chapel basically would have like makeup on his face, but I'm not going to show this image because it's kind of gross. Because it's kind of implied here that this is when Spawn removed part of Chapel's face. Yep, and in 14, the Violator's back. A.K.A. the Clown. Yes, the disgusting clown. I don't mind this character at all. He's an integral part to the Spawn universe. Like, he was heavily, and I do mean heavily, in the Spawn comics for the first 100 issues per se. And then they have him occasionally appear since then. I think he appeared once recently, but that was it. But yeah, pretty interesting issues for Spawn. I'm going to give this book roughly a 9 out of 10. Excuse me, still good stuff here. And I'm hoping to get a chance to pick up more of these Ordinary Collections. Now, I have looked up online how many there are of these. There are 20 of these. Yep, and the last one officially came out Well, the original printing of it anyway, so there's actually new printing. For some reason, they include issue 10. Last year came roughly 7 years ago. Yeah, but there is a deluxe edition of the Spawn Origins Collection. And that one does contain issue 10. But for some reason, this doesn't. I don't really know why. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly why the Origin Collection ended for, but it did. And they do still publish Spawn trades. Yes, they do. Yeah, it's mostly of the current stuff per se. Nothing of the old stuff. No. Yeah, I'm not really sure why Tom McFarlane doesn't care to actually reprint the old stuff that he will probably want to see if you want to get into Spawn. I mean, the only way else you can read Spawn aside from this Origin Collection, which apparently the original trade collection only went to like issue number 122. And that's it. They never went any further than this at all. Don't know why, but that's simply what it is. Yes. Would I recommend picking up the Spawn Origin Collection? Yes. But I would also recommend picking up... There is also a compendium for Spawn. Yes, there is about a couple of them per se. The big one, and here's the thing about this book. In my local comic shop, that's why I picked these up. I did see that there, but the thing is, it was $50. So I decided, I think I'll pass in this book. Yes. I'll stick to the Origin Collection if I want to get like the early stuff for Spawn. I do plan to read more of this stuff because I do love Spawn. I think he's a great character. And here's the thing. Interesting thing about Spawn. He is by far he's like the first independent comic that's not associated with the big two to actually have 300 issues. Though technically it's the first non-big two book. You can kind of say Vertigo, but that's imprint. But McFarlane basically was at a point, basically he really wanted the book to get 300 issues. And he did. And if you ever get a chance to read this book per se, like the first like 130 issues are really good. I thoroughly enjoy reading these books. After a while, they get kind of boring per se, or at least okay-ish. But I think that, in my opinion, the book kind of went slightly more downhill when they replaced Al Simmons with Jim Downing. Yes. The problem with these issues is that they were so bright, and I was not a fan of the artwork. Now, here's the thing when it comes to some of the issues by Spawn. Now, the thing is, Tom McFarlane, when Jim Downing was in the book, he actually stopped writing the book briefly for about 20 or so issues. He came back to the book with issue 100, and fun fact about the issue, it was the last issue he did the artwork for. Yep, last one. Do not know why he stopped doing the artwork for, and just mostly stuck to the writing. Yeah, he mostly stuck to the writing. Mostly has other artists doing it. He did bring back for issue 300. He did bring back Greg Capullo, who did the artwork, which I thought was really good. I love the Greg Capullo stuff because he's my favorite artist. I personally have not met Greg Capullo yet. I'll probably meet him in the near future. Yep. But not much else to say about these two trades. Both good. I thoroughly enjoyed reading both of them, and I was so happy to pick these up from my local comic shop. Yes, I actually have a comic shop now that, well, as of recently, the last 7 months, I pick up some of these trades from. And it's only like fairly recently I picked up Spawn. Now, in the case of the Immortal Hulk, that just came out. And I was so happy I picked it up. It's actually a second trade I picked up that just came out that I really want to get my hands on. The other, of course, is what was Justice League, the Death Knight Metal, the Death Knight, Dark Knight Death Metal tie-in book, Doom Metal. The book, it just came out, and I saw it as I'm on comic shop, like, I'm buying that book. No matter what, I'm getting that book. And the book was like dirt cheap. It was like about $16 for that trade. If you're curious though about how much these books cost, Spawn Origins, $14.99. Immortal Hulk, $15.99. You're probably thinking, that's actually not a bad price for it. I only got this thing just last weekend. Yes, I'll probably get a chance to, well, get maybe cut more trades this weekend because I'm going to get paid. Okay, so that's a particular review. You're probably thinking, am I going to do any more reviews today? Unknown, but it's possible I could get another comic corner, but it just depends about if I get anything else done. But I do have a few library trades to work on. Okay, next video. Bye.